Welcome back. We've been talking about minutes, and we are going to look at some examples of minutes to try to help you to see how to write a set of minutes. Minutes of the meeting of the English department held on Monday, December the 5th, 2011 in Mrs. Makudu's classroom at 800 hours. Remember, we said in the heading, you put which group or committee who is meeting. You put the day, the date. You put the place. You put the time. The next thing that you write is present. And I've said here that you put all the names of everybody who was at the meeting. So I've given you example. Mr. J. Smith, Mrs. B. Matroze. You do not write John and Beryl, and you write it formally, formal style. Apologies. Here it's the people who said, please excuse me from the meeting. So you put all the names. And again, you write them very, very formally. The first item on the agenda is welcome. So now you're writing the minutes. So you say, Mrs. Unterschlag welcomed everyone. So you take your agenda, it says welcome. Now you say, did the chairman welcome everybody? Yes. And you write that down. Second point, teaching next year. So this is the next point on the agenda. Notice there were no minutes to be corrected. There was no matters arising. That has gone because it wasn't applicable. There's nothing in here because it wasn't applicable. So you put only what was relevant for that meeting. So this meeting went straight on to the next point, teaching next year, and you write down what was decided, no changes. The third point is outstanding books. And again, you put what was decided. Now notice, if you were a teacher at that meeting, you need to make a note for yourself that you've got to send them to the book room. Now, if it is something that you have to do between one meeting and the next, you might highlight it to remind yourself, oh, I've got to do that. I'm responsible for that. Next point, work schedules for the next year. And what was decided about those work schedules. Point number 5, term 1 planning, and what was decided. So if you looked back at the agenda, that would have been on the agenda, that would have been on the agenda, that would have been on the agenda. All you've got to do as the secretary is take the agenda. You make notes during the meeting. What was decided about point number 3? You write it down, you record it. What was decided about point number 4? You write it down, you record it. What do you notice is missing? There might have been quite a lot of discussion around it. What should we do about outstanding books? I want to bring them next week. No, I want to bring them. None of that discussion is recorded. You record what was decided. So minutes are a form of summary. The only time you put in what was discussed is if somebody actually says, I want it recorded that this was said. Otherwise, you go straight from this was what was raised, this is what people wanted to talk about, and that was what was decided. Number 6, again, this would have been on the agenda. This is what was decided. That's what you record. This would have been on the agenda. This is what was decided. Again, this would have been on the agenda. This is what was decided. Again, there could have been quite a lot of discussion around the cycle tests for the next year. You don't record any of that. You go straight to what was decided. That would have been on the agenda. This is what was decided. And so we go on. Same thing here. That's on the agenda. That's what's decided. That's what's on the agenda. That's what's decided. That's what was on the agenda. That's what the teachers decided that they're going to do at the beginning of the next year. Then this would have been on the agenda. All of this is what they decided will be done next time. They're going to discuss the following. These things have to be prepared. The meeting continues with archiving. That's what's decided. And then general. And what would happen at the end here is that you would have a closure after general, everybody's thanked, and the meeting ends at a particular time. It is usual to put the time at which the meeting ended. I hope that that example has helped you. I know this is a difficult aspect of the syllabus. Good luck with notices, agendas, and minutes. Write well. From me, bye-bye.